Here is a great, deep, and detailed summary of the passage you gave, told in simple, clear English, so even a complete beginner can understand every part of it. Summary. The fall of the Hindu Shahi dynasty, c. 1000 to 1026 AD. The Hindu Shahi dynasty was once a strong Hindu kingdom located in northwestern India, in parts of today's Pakistan and Afghanistan. But by the early 1000s, their power had shrunk a lot, mainly due to repeated invasions by Mahmud of Ghazni, a powerful Muslim ruler from Central Asia. Anandapala's last stand. Anandapala was the ruler during this difficult time. Even though his kingdom had become small, he remained brave and refused to give up. He moved the capital to a safer area in the Salt Range Hills and tried to rebuild his strength. But before he could fully recover, he died a peaceful death, passing the throne to his son, Trilochanapala. Trilochanapala's struggles. Trilochanapala also had no peace. His reign was full of wars with Mahmud of Ghazni. In 1014 AD, Mahmud attacked again and captured Nandana, the new capital. Trilochanapala's son, Bhimapala, tried to defend it but failed. After losing, Trilochanapala escaped to Kashmir. He joined forces with a Kashmiri general named Tunga, but Mahmud defeated them too. Mahmud did not enter Kashmir fully, but Trilochanapala had to flee again. Trilochanapala's hope for a comeback. Trilochanapala did not want to live as a refugee. He still dreamed of regaining Punjab, his family's homeland. He returned and settled in the Sivalik Hills, foothills near the Himalayas, and began rebuilding power again. To strengthen his position, he made an alliance with Vidyadhar, the powerful Chandela king of Bundelkhand. Mahmud attacks again. Mahmud, seeing this new alliance as a threat, invaded India again in 1019 AD. He defeated Trilochanapala again, this time near the Ramalganga River. After this, Trilochanapala had almost no land left. He became a king only in name, with no real power. End of the dynasty. With his power gone, disagreements and betrayal grew among Trilochanapala's own supporters. Around 1021 or 122 AD, some of them murdered him, ending his struggle. His son Bhimapala ruled for a few years, but had very little land or influence. In 1026 AD, Bhimapala died and the Hindu Shahi dynasty came to a complete end. Big picture. What this means: the Hindu Shahis were among the last Hindu dynasties defending northwestern India from Turkish invasions. Despite many defeats, Anandapala and Trilochanapala fought bravely and never gave up easily. Their story is about resistance, courage, loss, and the final fall of an ancient kingdom. After their fall, Mahmud of Ghazni had free access to northern India, and this marked the beginning of a new era of Turkish Muslim rule in Indian history. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a comic strip, timeline, or character profile cards for Anandapala, Trilochanapala, Bhimapala, and Mahmud. Here is a great, deep, detailed, and very simple summary of the full passage you gave, explained like telling a full story to a beginner who doesn't know any history. Every part is clearly explained, with extra details and examples to help you understand everything fully. Full deep summary. Mahmud of Ghazni's invasions into India, 1004 to 14 CE. 1. Weakening of the Hindu Shahi kingdom. The door to India opens. The Hindu Shahi kingdom was the first wall of defense between India and the outside world from the northwest. It was ruled by Hindu kings who had earlier bravely fought foreign invaders. But by the early 1000s, this kingdom had become weak and broken due to earlier wars and internal problems. Because it was like a cracked door, it became easy for a foreign power, Mahmud of Ghazni, to enter India through this route. Mahmud was the king of Ghazni, a place in present-day Afghanistan. He was a powerful and ambitious Muslim ruler who wanted three things: wealth. He wanted to plunder India's rich temples and cities. Glory. He wanted to show he was a great warrior. And religion. He wanted to spread Islam and destroy idol worship. #2. Attack on Bathinda, 1004 CE. A bloody entry. The first major attack came in 1004 CE. when Mahmud attacked the fort of Bathinda. Bathinda was a fortified town in Punjab, sitting on the main road into India. It was defended by a Hindu ruler named Bijay Rai, who fought bravely. But Mahmud had stronger weapons, more soldiers, and better war skills. After a hard fight, he defeated Bijay Rai and captured the fort. Then came brutality. Mahmud killed almost all the people in the town, except those who agreed to convert to Islam. This was a way to spread fear and send a message to other Indian kingdoms: surrender or die. He also took away a lot of treasure: gold, jewels, weapons, fine goods. This was called booty. 3. Securing the western flank. Attack on Multan, 1006 CE. After taking Bathinda, Mahmud started thinking smartly like a military planner. He asked, if I go deeper into India, what if someone attacks my army from behind? So he decided to conquer nearby areas to protect his path. In 1006 CE, he attacked Multan, a rich city on his western side, ruled by Fat Daud, a Carmathian Muslim. The Carmathians were a different branch of Islam that Mahmud disliked. Mahmud defeated Fat Daud and took full control of Multan. This made sure that no one could attack Mahmud from behind while he moved deeper into India. 4. Victory at Waihind and capture of Nagarkot, 1009 CE. In 1009, Mahmud returned and faced Anandapala, the son of Bijay Rai's ally Jayapala. The battle happened near Waihind in today's Pakistan. Mahmud again defeated the Hindu king. After this, he attacked and captured Nagarkot, a very famous place known today as Kangra in Himachal Pradesh. Why did he go there? Because it had a very rich temple in a fort on a hill. Mahmud looted it and took away all the gold, silver, and gems. This made his city Ghazni even richer and made him more famous. 5. Capture of Narayanpur, 1009 CE. In the same year, Mahmud also took over Narayanpur, a place in today's Alwar district of Rajasthan. Narayanpur was like a giant shopping center or trading hub. Goods came from Central Asia, like silk, perfumes, horses, and from all parts of India, like spices, cotton, gems. By controlling Narayanpur, Mahmud controlled commerce and trade, which meant more money and power. 6. Attack on Thaneshwar, plundering a sacred Hindu city, 1014 CE. In 1014 CE, Mahmud prepared to attack Thaneshwar, a very sacred Hindu city. It was famous for the Chakraswami temple, a holy place full of religious importance. On his way there, a Hindu king attacked Mahmud's army and caused heavy losses. Many of Mahmud's soldiers died. But Mahmud still kept moving forward and reached Thaneshwar. To his surprise, the people of Thaneshwar were so afraid that they surrendered without a fight. Mahmud then plundered the city, taking gold, silver, idol, everything of value. He took the main idol, carried it back to Ghazni. There, he publicly displayed the idol in the city square to show, I brought the power of Islam over idol, and to intimidate future Indian rulers. Final meaning and message of this history. This entire story is not just about one king defeating another. It shows how Mahmud of Ghazni used a mix of military power, religious motivation, and desire for wealth to invade India. His strategy was clear: attack, kill, loot, destroy temples, and then return safely to Ghazni with treasure and glory. His attacks were not meant to rule India permanently, but to rob it again and again. Mahmud's success was possible because Indian kingdoms were divided and didn't unite to stop him. Summary. Table of events. Year, event, what happened? 1004, attack on Bathinda, Bijay Rai lost, people killed, treasure taken. 1006, attack on Multan, Fat Daud defeated, flank secured. Battle of Waihind, Anandapala defeated. 1009, capture of Nagarkot, rich temple looted. 1009, capture of Narayanpur, control of major trade city. Then 14, attack on Thaneshwar, sacred temple looted, idol taken to Ghazni. Would you like me to now turn this into a comic strip version, a timeline image, or infographics with maps? Let me know. Here is a great, deep, and simple summary of the full passage you gave, explained in the easiest way, like teaching a beginner or a child, with all important ideas covered. Full, deep, and simple summary. Between the years 1015 and 1021 CE, Mahmud of Ghazni, a powerful Muslim ruler from Afghanistan, tried 2 times to conquer Kashmir, a beautiful and peaceful land in northern India. But both times he failed. The area was too difficult, with mountains, cold weather, and strong local resistance, so he gave up trying to control or enslave it. Kashmir was sometimes called the Happy Valley because of how peaceful and lovely it was. Earlier, Mahmud had already destroyed the Hindu Shahi kingdom, which was a Hindu kingdom in the northwest of India, in modern-day Pakistan and Afghanistan. That kingdom used to protect India like a wall, stopping foreign armies from entering. But once it was gone, there was no strong protection left on India's border. So the path was now open for many Turkish and Central Asian invaders to enter India easily, like water flooding in when a dam breaks. This is what the line meant when it said, "The floodgates of Turkish invasions were opened." After opening this path, Mahmud saw a great opportunity to take more wealth and power. So, in the year 1018 CE, he gathered his army and marched from his capital Ghazni toward the Ganga-Yamuna Doab, a rich area of land between the Ganga and Yamuna rivers, full of big, wealthy, and ancient Indian cities. One of the most important cities there was Mathura. It was a very crowded and rich city, full of gold, silver, temples, and traders. But more importantly, Mathura was a holy city for Hindus, like Bethlehem is for Christians. Mathura was believed to be the birthplace of Lord Krishna, one of the most loved and worshipped gods in Hinduism. When Mahmud reached Mathura, he saw that it was strongly built and had beautiful, large temples everywhere. These temples were full of art, carvings, and sculptures, built by generations of worshippers. The whole city was full of culture, beauty, and faith. However, the soldiers, garrison of Mathura did not fight back. They made no attempt to protect the city or the temples. So Mahmud was able to enter easily and later destroyed many temples and looted their treasures, which had been gathered over hundreds of years. Key takeaways in simple points. 1. Mahmud tried to conquer Kashmir 2 times between 1050 and 1021, but failed both times. 2. He had already destroyed the Hindu Shahi kingdom, which used to protect India from outside invaders. 3. After that, the barriers were gone, and foreign Muslim invasions into the heart of India began. 4. In 1018, Mahmud marched to Mathura, a rich, crowded, and holy city in North India. 5. Mathura was the birthplace of Lord Krishna, like a Hindu Bethlehem. 6. The city was full of beautiful temples and wealth, but its defenders didn't fight. 7. Mahmud entered and later destroyed temples and looted great treasure. If you want, I can also explain Utpi's description of the beauty of Mathura and the destruction Mahmud caused in the same way. Would you like that? Here is a great, deep, and very detailed summary of the passage you shared, written in the simplest language possible so that even someone with no background knowledge can fully understand it. Mahmud of Ghazni's destruction of Mathura and Vrindavan around 1018 AD. Between the years 1015 and 1021 AD, Mahmud of Ghazni, a ruler from what is now Afghanistan, led many invasions into India. His main aim was to attack rich cities, destroy temples, and take away as much gold, silver, and treasure as he could. He was also driven by religious beliefs. He strongly opposed idol worship, worship of statues or images of gods, which is a central part of Hindu religion. So, he wanted to destroy Hindu temples and spread Islam. Why Mathura was attacked? In 1018 AD, Mahmud marched toward Mathura, one of the holiest and richest cities in northern India. Mathura was a major religious center for Hindus, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, a beloved Hindu god, full of huge temples, beautiful buildings, and treasures gathered over centuries. It was like a spiritual capital for many Hindus, much like how Bethlehem is sacred in Christianity. What Mahmud saw in Mathura. When Mahmud entered Mathura, he was shocked by what he saw. According to his own court historian, Utpi, the city looked like a place from paradise, heaven, full of beautiful temples, strong building designs, so stunning that even intelligent people would not believe it was real. Utbi wrote that the city had 1,000 temples built from strong stone spread around it. In the center, there was a very tall and amazing temple. This temple was so beautiful that no painter or writer could describe it fully. Mahmud himself said that if someone tried to build that temple again, it would take 200 years, brilliant architects, and millions of gold coins. Treasure found in the temples. The temples were not just religious buildings, they were also treasure houses. Inside them, Mahmud's army found statues made of pure gold, some 7 to 8 feet tall. One idol had a jacinth gemstone worth 50,000 gold coins. Another idol had a blue sapphire worth a huge amount. Under the idol's feet, they found hidden treasures, including gold worth 400,000 miskals, a massive amount. Silver idols, which were also very valuable. So Mahmud's army plundered the temples. They stole every valuable item they could find. Destruction of the city. After looting, Mahmud's army burned down the temples, destroyed the buildings, killed many people, committed terrible acts, including rape and massacres. This destruction also spread to Vrindavan, another sacred city nearby. Vrindavan also faced the same violence: looting, arson, burning, killings, and abuse. Why this event matters. This attack on Mathura and Vrindavan was not just about taking treasure. It was about destroying the religious and cultural heart of Hindu India, proving power through religious violence, starting a pattern. After this, many more Muslim invasions happened in the region. It caused deep fear, loss of sacred heritage, and massive pain for people living there. The big picture. This event shows how religion, greed, and power mixed during invasions, how a beautiful, peaceful city could be turned into ruins in a short time, how temples were not only spiritual centers, but also wealth banks, and destroying them broke the morale of the people. If you'd like, I can also turn this into a storyboard or comic strip. Make a timeline of Mahmud's invasions. Summarize it again in a short poem or visual poster. Let me know how you'd like to learn more. Sure. Here's a deep, detailed summary of the passage you shared, and fully. Detailed summary. Mahmud of Ghazni, a powerful ruler from the city of Ghazni, in modern Afghanistan, Pakistan region, invaded northern India in the early 11th century. After attacking and plundering the sacred city of Mathura, he moved on to the important city of Kannauj. Kannauj was a major political and cultural center, considered the imperial capital of northern India for many centuries, especially since the time of the famous ancient king Harsha. At that time, Kannauj was ruled by Rajapala, the last king of the Gurjara Pratihara dynasty. Rajapala was not brave in the face of Mahmud's invasion, as soon as he learned that Mahmud was approaching with his army without trying to defend it, because forces were able to surround and capture Kannauj easily without much fighting. Once Kannauj fell, it experienced the same brutal destruction and looting that Mathura had already suffered. Mahmud's army killed many people and took enormous amounts of treasure, which were so vast that they could not be counted. After capturing Kannauj, Mahmud returned to his homeland Ghazni, but on the way, he also conquered several small forts, expanding his control. The destruction of the temples and holy places in Mathura deeply disturbed some Indian leaders. One important ruler was the Chandela chief from Bundelkhand, named either Ganda or Vidyadhara. Different records give different names. He decided to create an alliance, a group of kings united, to protect their religion and land from further attacks like Mahmud's. This alliance was unhappy with Rajapala because he had run away without defending Kannauj. In fact, they were so angry that they attacked Rajapala, defeated him, and killed him. Mahmud, aware that this new alliance could become a strong threat, decided to come back to India to stop them. He left Ghazni again in 1019 AD and faced resistance from Trilokanapala, a king of the Hindu Shahi dynasty. Mahmud defeated him in battle. Mahmud then moved towards Bundelkhand, where the Chandela ruler gathered a large army to stop him. However, for reasons unknown, the Chandela leader left the battlefield during the night. This sudden departure surprised Mahmud, who was almost discouraged by the size of the Chandela army. But because the Chandela leader fled, Mahmud was able to attack, destroy the Chandela lands, and seize a huge amount of wealth. Finally, after these victories, Mahmud returned to Ghazni in 1022 AD, having greatly expanded his power and treasure. Why is this important? Mahmud's invasions marked a major shift in Indian history because they showed the vulnerability of Indian kingdoms to foreign invaders. The fall of important cities like Kannauj, once the heart of northern India, symbolized the weakening of old dynasties such as the Gurjara Pratiharas. The resistance by local rulers like the Chandelas showed the efforts to unite and protect India's religion and culture, even though they faced difficulties. Mahmud's success brought huge wealth to his empire, but also caused a lot of destruction to Indian society, temples, and culture. This period set the stage for many more invasions and changes in Indian political history over the next few centuries. If you want, I can also explain who the Gurjara Pratiharas were, the significance of the Chandelas, or more about Mahmud himself. Just ask. Here is a great, deep, and very simple summary from the comic and the earlier story, told in easy language with clear structure and full detail. Summary. Mahmud of Ghazni's attacks on Kalinjar and Somanath. 1. Mahmud returns to attack the Chandelas around 1022 CE. Mahmud had already looted Mathura, Kannauj, and many Indian cities. He now wanted to destroy the power of the Chandelas, a strong Rajput dynasty ruling Bundelkhand. His goal was to capture Kalinjar Fort, the most powerful Chandela fortress. 2. On the way, Mahmud tries to capture Gwalior. Gwalior was a huge fort ruled by a feudatory. Mahmud wanted to attack it first, but it was too strong and couldn't be captured. Instead of wasting time, Mahmud made peace with the Kachwaha Rajput ruler of Gwalior and continued towards Kalinjar. 3. Siege of Kalinjar. Mahmud reached Kalinjar and laid siege, surrounded it to force surrender. The siege lasted a long time, and Kalinjar was difficult to defeat. Mahmud was getting tired and wanted to go back to Ghazni. 4. Peace with the Chandela king. The Chandela king offered peace and gave 300 elephants as tribute, a huge gift. According to some stories, the king also wrote a poem praising Mahmud. Mahmud was pleased and gave the king control of 15 forts as a reward. Mahmud then returned to Ghazni with the spoils, treasure, and elephants. 5. Mahmud's last famous attack, Somanath, 1025 CE. Mahmud's final and most famous expedition was to Somanath Temple in Gujarat. Somanath was a holy and very rich temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. The Brahmins, priests of the temple, had boasted that Lord Somanath was so powerful, he protected his own temple while other gods' temples were destroyed. 6. Mahmud decides to destroy Somanath. This prideful statement made Mahmud angry. He saw it as a challenge and wanted to break their pride and destroy their god's statue. He launched a massive expedition and finally attacked and destroyed the temple. He took away huge amounts of treasure and broke the idol of Shiva. This attack gave him the name Idol Breaker. What this tells us, Mahmud India not to rule, but to loot temples and weaken Indian kings. He was attracted to wealth, elephants, and fame. Indian kings sometimes fought, sometimes fled, and sometimes made peace. Temples like Mathura, Kalinjar, and Somanath were symbols of Indian pride, so Mahmud attacked them to break both religious and political strength. His raids caused great destruction, but also forced Indian rulers to think about unity and defense. Would you like this summary in comic or timeline or visual map form too? Here is a deep and detailed summary in the simplest language possible of Mahmud of Ghazni's final expedition to Somanath, 1024 to 1025 CE, and the end of his Indian campaigns. 1. Preparation and start of the journey. Date of departure. Mahmud left his capital Ghazni on 17th of October, 1024 CE. This time, he took the biggest army he had ever used. He had to cross the hot, dry desert of Rajputana, now Rajasthan. The desert was very dangerous. No water, no food, very hard for men and animals. So Mahmud made very careful preparations. Each soldier carried food, water, and animal food fodder for 7 days. He also brought supplies for the whole army on 30,000 camels. 2. Reaching Anhilwara, modern Patan in Gujarat. He arrived in Anhilwara in January 1025 CE. The local king, Raja Bhimadeo, had already run away with most of his army. So Mahmud easily defeated the few people left in the city and looted it. Number 3. The Somanath Temple and its fall. Mahmud's final goal was the Somanath Temple, a very famous and sacred Hindu temple on the coast of Gujarat. The people there did not run away. They believed that Lord Somanath, a form of Shiva, would protect them. But Mahmud's army attacked and easily captured the temple. A terrible massacre followed. Over 50,000 people were killed. Number 4. Destruction of the Somanath idol. The temple had a huge idol statue of Lord Somanath. It was so special that it looked like it was floating in the air using lodestones, magnetic stones. Even Muslim travelers who saw it were amazed. Mahmud ordered the magnetic stones removed, and the idol fell to the ground. It was then smashed to pieces. Pieces of the idol were sent to Ghazni, his capital, Mecca, 2 holy cities of Islam, streets and mosque stairways, so that people would walk over them. This was meant to insult and humiliate the Hindu religion. 5. Treasure and wealth from the temple. The treasure found in the temple was incredible, worth more than 20 lakh, 2 million gold dinars. This was one of the richest lootings of Mahmud's career. 6. Return and final expedition. Mahmud returned to Ghazni through Sindh, now in Pakistan. On the way back from Somanath the year before, the Jats of Sindh had attacked him. So, in his last campaign, Mahmud returned and fought the Jats. After defeating them, he never returned to India again. 7. End of life. Mahmud died in 1030 CE. He had attacked India 17 times. His goals were to get riches and wealth, to spread Islam, to destroy what he saw as false idols and pagan temples. Summary in one line. Mahmud of Ghazni's last major raid into India, 1024 to 110-125 CE, ended with the brutal destruction of the famous Somanath Temple, massive looting, the death of thousands, and his eventual return to Ghazni, marking the end of his Indian expeditions. If you'd like a timeline, map, or diagram of this summary too, I can make it for you. Sure, here's a deep, detailed, and very clear summary of the estimate about Mahmud. Explain simple points carefully. Deep, detailed summary of Mahmud. Mahmud was one of the most powerful and important Muslim kings in Asian history. He started as a small ruler with just 2 provinces, Ghazni and Khorasan, which he inherited from his father. These were like small pieces of land. But Mahmud worked very hard, fought many battles, and expanded his kingdom into a huge empire. His empire stretched all the way from Iraq and the Caspian Sea in the west to the Ganga River in India in the east. This made his empire even bigger than the empire of the Caliph of Baghdad, who was another very time. Mahmud means he kept all the power in his own hands. He did not share his authority with anyone else. He was the sole ruler and made all the important decisions himself. His will, or what he wanted, was like a law that everyone in his kingdom had to follow. He controlled everything. He was the top boss running the government, the chief judge who decided right and wrong, and the commander-in-chief leading the army. Mahmud chose his ministers, his helpers, by himself. These ministers were like his servants who had to obey him completely. He could appoint, choose, or dismiss, fire them anytime he wanted, so they depended on him for their jobs. This helped Mahmud keep control over his kingdom because no one could challenge his power. However, Mahmud's power was not unlimited. 2 main things limited him. First, he had to follow the customary Muslim laws, called Sharia, which meant he could not do anything that broke religious rules. Second, he had to be careful with the army, because if the soldiers were unhappy, they could rebel and remove him from power. So, Mahmud had to keep the army loyal and content. Despite these limits, Mahmud ruled successfully. He maintained them, meaning he kept peace and made sure people followed the laws. He was very what we call administrative ability. This means he knew how to organize and run his government so that everything worked well. Because of all these achievements, building a vast empire, authority, managing his kingdom of peace, historians give Mahmud a very high place among the kings of his time. He was a gifted ruler with great leadership skills. Why is this important? Mahmud's story shows how a strong leader can start with little and build a large, powerful kingdom through determination and smart leadership. It also shows the importance of keeping control over helpers and the army to maintain power. His rule shows a balance between absolute power and the limits set by religion and the need to keep the military happy. His success in keeping peace and order tells us that being a good manager is as important as being a strong fighter. If you want, I can summary into very small parts with simple examples. Just let me know. Certainly. Here is a deep, detailed, and clear summary of the passage about Mahmud's qualities as a soldier and general, explained simply but thoroughly. Deep, detailed summary of Mahmud's military leadership. Mahmud was a brave and fearless soldier and a very skilled general, army leader. Though he was not especially strong or talented in personal fighting skills, he showed great courage and was never scared to face dangers. His success as a general came not from his own fighting abilities, but from his intelligence and leadership skills. Mahmud was very good at using the soldiers and resources he already had. Instead of completely changing the army system, he improved and revitalized the existing military system to make it stronger and more effective. This smart approach helped him achieve great success in battles. One of Mahmud's strongest qualities was his understanding of people. He could judge the character and abilities of his soldiers and officers very well. He appreciated what each person could do best and assigned roles accordingly. By doing this, he made sure every individual contributed to his victories in the way they were most. Mahmud was naturally a leader. People trusted him and followed him because of his leadership qualities. His army was made up of many different groups of people, including Arabs, Afghans, Turks, and Hindus, who came from different races and religions. Despite these differences, Mahmud united them all into one strong and powerful army. This ability to bring together diverse groups was a key part of his military success. Some people have claimed that Mahmud's military skills were only impressive because he fought weak enemies, especially the Hindu kingdoms, and that his leadership has been praised too much. However, this is not true. Historical evidence shows that Mahmud was equally successful in battles in Central Asia and Persia, fighting tough opponents there as well. In summary, Mahmud was a fearless and intelligent general who made clever use of his resources, understood and motivated his soldiers well, and successfully united a diverse army. His military success was real and not just because of weak enemies. This makes him one of the great military leaders of his time. If you want me to break this summary further into even simpler parts or add examples, just let me know. Here's a deep, detailed summary in simple words of the passage about Mahmud's love for culture, learning, and art. Mahmud was not just a powerful king and warrior. He was also very interested in books, learning, and beautiful art. He himself could write poems. Scholar. He worked hard to make his capital city an important place by building grand palaces, mosques, prayer places, colleges, schools, and tombs, special burial places. Mahmud invited many famous and talented scholars and poets to his court, including well-known figures like al-Biruni, and Ferdowsi, a famous poet who wrote epic stories. These scholars and poets made Ghazni a center of knowledge and creativity. His secretary, Utbi, was a skilled writer who recorded many important details about Mahmud's life and reign, helping later generations learn. Mahmud also founded a university in learning and attracted brilliant artists from all over the Muslim world. These artists included painters, musicians, poets, and craftsmen who contributed to making Ghazni a famous cultural and artistic center. Through all these efforts, Mahmud showed that he valued knowledge, education, and art alongside military power, helping his kingdom become respected not only for its strength, but also for its culture and learning. If you want, I can break down or explain any part of this summary in even more detail. Here's a deep, detailed summary of the passage about Mahmud's justice, religion, and his reputation, explained clearly and fully. Summary. Mahmud was widely known as a fair and just ruler who governed his kingdom with honesty and strong principles. People admired him not only for his strict enforcement of law and order, but also for his love of learning and generosity. He was deeply religious, following Sunni Islam closely, and making sure his subjects also adhered to the orthodox Sunni beliefs. Mahmud actively punished groups he considered heretics, such as the Carmathians, to keep religious unity in his empire. Modern scholars, like Professor Muhammad Habib, argue that Mahmud's military campaigns, especially his raids into India, were motivated more by a desire for wealth and power than religious fanaticism. They also point out that true Islamic teachings do not support the violence and looting often associated with Mahmud's invasions, and that these actions may have harmed the reputation of Islam. However, during Mahmud's own lifetime, and for centuries afterward, many Muslim scholars and people saw him as an ideal Islamic ruler. They believed his rule was deeply faithful to Islamic law, and that his victories helped strengthen and glorify Islam. These religious experts did not view his harsh actions as violations of Islam, but rather as efforts to uphold and expand the faith. From a historian's perspective, the focus is on understanding Mahmud's actions and their effects, rather than judging them according to religious rules. It is an uncontested fact that, according to the religious leaders of his time, Mahmud's rule followed strict Islamic principles and elevated the status of Islam through his conquests and governance. This summary highlights the complex views of Mahmud, respected as a just and religious king by his contemporaries, criticized by modern scholars for violence motivated by greed, yet still seen historically as a ruler who strongly shaped the Islamic world. If you want, I can break down any part of this summary further or add examples. Here is a deep, clear, and very detailed message about Mahmud of Ghazni in the simplest possible language, like teaching a total beginner. Detailed, simple summary. Mahmud of Ghazni, character, actions, and legacy. 1. How Indians saw Mahmud during his time. To the people of India in the 11th century, Mahmud of Ghazni was seen as extremely evil, almost like the devil in human form. They remembered him not as a brave king, but as a bold thief who came only to loot, a greedy raider who wanted wealth, a destroyer of beautiful temples and art with no respect for Indian culture. 2. His crimes and violence. He successful Indian cities and looted all their wealth. He destroyed grand temples. These temples were not only religious, but also amazing works of architecture and sculpture. He kidnapped women and children during his raids and took them as slaves. His armies often massacred innocent people, meaning they killed ordinary unarmed men, women, and children without any reason. He also forced some people to convert to Islam, even when they didn't want to. 3. He left behind destruction, not development. After his invasions, the cities were left in ruins, the temples destroyed, people dead or enslaved. Such a person, the passage says, cannot be remembered kindly by future generations. 4. He was not a ruler for India. Mahmud never tried to rule over most of India. He only took over Punjab, and he did that for military reasons, not to help or govern the people. Why Punjab? It was strategically important. He needed it to launch deeper attacks into northern India. His goal was not to stay, but to raid, loot, and return to Ghazni, his capital in modern-day Afghanistan. 5. He didn't build a strong kingdom. He was not a nation builder like some kings. He did not set up any lasting system, institutions, or public works for the people. Even if he supported education or poets, it was only for a small group of elites, not for the general public. He helped scholars like al-Biruni, but only to glorify himself. not for public good. 6. His kingdom was weak after his death. Mahmud personally held his empire together, but he didn't build a strong structure. As soon as he died, his empire began to break into pieces. There was no strong foundation. Historian Lane Poole said Mahmud's empire fell apart quickly after him because it was not well organized. 7. He was greedy and obsessed with wealth. Mahmud is remembered as being too fond of money. This hurt his image. One famous story says he promised the poet Ferdowsi gold for every verse of a poem, but then refused to pay him properly. Another story says that on his deathbed, Mahmud cried not for his people, but because he was leaving his treasure behind. Even if not literally true, these stories show how people viewed him, as selfish and greedy. 8. His talent versus his character. Despite all these faults, Mahmud was very talented. He was a strong military leader. He knew how to organize raids, defeat enemies, and collect treasure. Historian Professor Habib says, Mahmud became so powerful not because he had good morals, but because he had great skills and intelligence. His ability, not his goodness, made him famous. Final simple judgment. Mahmud was cruel, greedy, and destructive in India. He killed, looted, enslaved, and ruined cities and temples. He didn't help the people or try to build anything lasting in India. He had no kindness, no justice, and no real statesmanship. But he was very smart, organized, and powerful in battle. He opened the door for later Muslim rule in India, even if he didn't stay to rule it himself. So he is remembered as a brilliant but brutal conqueror. If you'd like, I can also give you a timeline of Mahmud's actions, a chart comparing Mahmud to other kings, a short story version of his life. Just let me know what you want next. Here's a deep, clear, and very detailed summary of the passage about the city of Mahmud of Ghazni, explained in the simplest possible language, with full context, like teaching a complete summary. Happened after Ghazni died. Mahmud of Ghazni was a powerful, raided a large and invaded India, but after he died in 1030 CE, he became unstable. His sons fought each other, and the empire fell into chaos. Here's a step-by-step explanation of everything that happened after his death. 1. Mahmud knew his empire was too big to handle. Mahmud had a very large empire. It was spread across modern Afghanistan, Iran, and parts of India. He realized that after his death, it might be hard to control such a vast empire. So before dying, he divided the empire between his two sons, Muhammad. He hoped this would prevent fighting between them. 2. A war broke out anyway. As soon as Mahmud died, the two brothers fought each other to become the main, called a war of succession, the throne. Masud won the war. 3. Masud defeats his brother Muhammad. Masud captured Muhammad. He blinded him, a common practice in medieval times to prevent someone from ruling. He also put him in prison so he could never return to power. 4. Masud becomes Sultan, king. Masud ruled for 10 years, from 1030 to 1040 CE. He was officially given the title of Sultan by the Caliph, the religious leader of the Muslim world. 5. Masud faces a major defeat. In 1040 CE, Masud fought a war against the Seljuk Turks, a powerful empire from Central Asia. The battle took place near Merv, in present-day Turkmenistan. Masud lost the battle very badly. His army fell apart, and he had to run away to Lahore, in modern-day Pakistan. 6. The Punjab was in trouble. While Mahmud and Masud were ruling from Ghazni in Afghanistan, the Indian province of Punjab was ruled by local deputies, governors. These deputies were disloyal. They didn't support the king properly. Selfish. They cared more about themselves. Inefficient. They didn't manage the region well. As a result, Punjab was poorly governed. 7. A loyal Hindu general helped Masud. One person remained loyal to Masud, a Hindu general named Tilak. Tilak had started from a low background and had worked his way up to become a minister under Mahmud. Even after Mahmud's death, he stayed loyal to Masud. But even with Tilak's help, things were not going well in Punjab, especially after Masood lost to the Seljuks. 8. Masood's soldiers rebel. After the defeat, Masood's army was tired, upset, and disorganized. On the way to Lahore, soldiers rebelled, mutinied, moved Masood from power, and handed him over to his blind brother, Muhammad. 9. Muhammad becomes king again. Muhammad, who had once been blinded and jailed by Masood, was now back in power. As an act of revenge and to remove danger, Muhammad killed Masood. 10. Masood's son, Maudud, fights back. Masood had a son named Maudud. After his father was killed, Maudud gathered support from important nobles and army, attacked Muhammad. Maudud then killed Muhammad and his son. Final summary in simple points. 1. Mahmud of Ghazni divided his empire between his two sons, Masood and Muhammad, before dying in 1030 CE. 2. After Mahmud's death, a war broke out. Masood defeated Muhammad, blinded him, and became king. 3. Masood ruled for 10 years but was defeated by the Seljuks in 1040 CE. 4. He fled to Lahore, but his own army rebelled against him. 5. The army gave him to Muhammad, who became king again and killed Masood. 6. Masood's son Maudud then raised an army, defeated Muhammad, and killed him and his son. 7. This marked the end of the power struggle after Mahmud's death and shows how his once strong empire quickly became unstable after he was gone. Would you like a family tree of Mahmud's dynasty? A timeline of the events? Style version with characters and dialogue? I'd be glad to make those for you too. Sure. Here's a deep, detailed summary of the whole passage, explained simply and clearly with all important points covered, like study guide for you. Of the decline of the Ghazni Empire and rise of Gur. 1. Maudud's weak rule, 1040 to Maudud was a king of Ghazni who ruled for about 9 years. Compared to earlier strong kings like Mahmud of Ghazni, Maudud was weak and ineffective. He failed to keep the empire united and strong. His reign showed the beginning of Ghazni's decline. 2. War of Succession, after Maudud's death. When Maudud died in 1049, there was a takeover. Several people thought he should be the next king. This fight is called a War of Succession. Mughals weakened the empire further. Instead of focusing on ruling well, the royal family was busy fighting among themselves. Number 3. Series of incompetent rulers. After Maudud, many rulers came to power one after another, but all were weak and incompetent, meaning they could not govern well. Their time as kings was short, and none of them could bring stability or strength back to the empire. This period was marked by poor leadership and failure. 4. Troubles in Punjab and threat from the Seljuks. During this chaotic time, Ghazni was also facing problems in Punjab, a region in northern India and Pakistan, where control was slipping. On top of this, the powerful Seljuk Empire, which was growing in Central Asia, was threatening Ghazni from the northwest. So, Ghazni was surrounded by troubles both inside and outside its borders. Number 5. The biggest threat, the Principality of Gur. The most serious danger to Ghazni came from a nearby principality called Gur, located in the mountains near Ghazni. The rulers of Gur were once under Ghazni's power, but were becoming strong and independent. Over time, a bitter rivalry developed between the royal families of Ghazni and Gur. 6. Long-lasting family feud turns into war. This rivalry, or family feud, between Ghazni and Gur's ruling families turned into an open war. This conflict intensified over many years and reached its peak in the year 1155 AD. 7. Alauddin Hussein of Gur's devastating attack in 1155. Alauddin Hussein, the king of Gur, launched a brutal invasion of Ghazni in 1155. He plundered, stole everything from the city, destroyed buildings, and burned the city completely. Because of his destruction, people called him Jahan Soz, which means the world burner. 8. Massacre and enslavement. During the attack, Alauddin killed thousands of people in Ghazni and enslaved many women and children. This was a very cruel and harsh event that marked the destruction of the city's population and spirit. 9. Destruction of Ghazni. Except Mahmud's tomb. Alauddin destroyed almost all the buildings in Ghazni, digging them up and burning them. The only building left untouched was the tomb of Mahmud of Ghazni, the empire's greatest and most famous ruler. 10. End of the Ghazni dynasty by Muhammad Ghuri. In the late 1100s, fourth quarter of the 12th century, Shahabuddin Muhammad Ghuri, another ruler from Ghur, finally ended the Ghazni royal family once and for all. With the fall of Ghazni's rulers, the empire came to an end and the power shifted to the Ghurids. Summary of the big picture. Ghazni Empire was strong under Mahmud, but grew weak after him. Mahmud's weak rule led to a power struggle and weak kings. Internal troubles and external threats from the Seljuks and Punjab worsened the situation. The most enemy was the nearby Ghur Principality. After years of rivalry, Ghur attacked Ghazni, destroyed the city, killed many people, and enslaved others. The Ghazni dynasty ended in the late 12th century under the hands of the Ghurid ruler Muhammad Ghuri. This summary explains how a once powerful empire declined due to weak rulers, internal fights, and strong enemies, leading to its fall and replacement by another rising kingdom, a common story in history. Would you like me to explain what happened next after the fall of Ghazni, or about the Ghurid Empire? Here is a deep, simple, and entire passage titled The Punjab Under the Ghaznavids, written in the easiest language possible, like teaching a total beginner. Summary: The Punjab under the Ghaznavids. Who were the Ghaznavids? The Ghaznavids were a Muslim dynasty ruling family from Ghazni in present-day Afghanistan. The most famous ruler of this dynasty was Mahmud of Ghazni, who led many attacks into India in the 11th century. Mahmud was the first Turkish Muslim to actually rule part of India, not just raid and leave. He started a Turkish dynasty in India, meaning his family continued ruling parts of Indian territory after him. What happened in Punjab? 1. Mahmud conquered Punjab. Mahmud of Ghazni took control of a rich region in northwestern. Didn't stay there, but left it under the control of a governor, like a manager or deputy ruler. Punjab became the third Indian region to fall under Muslim rule, after Sindh and Multan. Hack 2. His family continued ruling from Lahore. After Mahmud died, his sons and grandsons lost control of their original homeland in Ghazni, in Afghanistan. So they shifted their power base to Lahore, a major city in Punjab, modern-day Pakistan. They ruled from Lahore until 1186 AD, when their dynasty finally ended. Problems in governing Punjab. 1. Weak and corrupt governors. After Mahmud, the governance of Punjab got worse and worse. The officers he left in charge were often disloyal. They betrayed the kings, and incompetent, not good at their jobs. 2. A governor named Aryaruk stole royal money. He took government money meant for the king and used it for himself. King Masud, Mahmud's son, called him back to Ghazni and had him executed. 3. Then came Ahmad Nialtigin, even worse. He was dishonest and had no real experience in ruling or warfare. He fought with other officers and led a raid on Banaras, a sacred Hindu city, in 1033 AD. He brought back a lot of treasure, but his actions were dangerous and made the king suspicious. 4. Masud sent Tilak, a Hindu general, to deal with him. Tilak was a talented and loyal Hindu officer who had served Mahmud. Tilak defeated and killed Ahmad and sent his head to Masud to prove it. 5. Masud then made his son the governor. In 1036 AD, Masud put his son Majdud in charge of Punjab. Masud's later actions and downfall. 1. Masud invaded India himself. In 1037 AD, Masud came to India personally and attacked Hansi in Haryana. On the 1st of January 1039, he captured the city, killed many innocent people, and enslaved women and children. 2. Masud was defeated by the Seljuks. In 1040 AD, Masud lost a huge battle against the Seljuk Turks, a rising power in Central Asia. He abandoned Ghazni and fled toward Lahore. Top 3. Masud was betrayed by his own army. His own soldiers captured him and put him in prison. They made his brother, Muhammad, the new ruler. Maudud takes over. A new king named Maudud, 1041 to 1042, became the next Ghaznavid ruler. He fought the governor of Lahore, a man named Nami, and killed him. After this, Maudud took control of the Punjab region again. Conclusion. What does this all mean? Punjab became part of the Ghaznavid Empire under Mahmud. His descendants ruled Punjab for over 150 years. often from Lahore. But the region suffered because many rulers were weak, corrupt, and constantly fighting each other. The loyalty of soldiers, the skill of governors, and the strength of kings all declined after Mahmud. This left Punjab unstable and ready to fall to the next powerful invaders, which eventually happened in 1186 when the Ghurids defeated the Ghaznavids. Would you like a timeline, map, or character chart to go with this summary? I can also give you a super simple flowchart or family tree of Mahmud's dynasty. Here is a great, deep, detailed summary of the entire passage you gave in very language with full clarity and extra explanation to make everything completely clear, even if you're a total beginner. Summary. The fall of the Ghaznavids in Punjab, 1040 to 1192 CE. 1. The Ghaznavids continued ruling Punjab after Mahmud of Ghazni. After Mahmud of Ghazni died, his family continued to control Punjab, a rich area in northwestern India. But the people of Punjab did not like the Ghaznavid rulers anymore. They were seen as foreign rulers, and their rule was corrupt and weak. 2. Hindu king Mahipala pushes back, 1044 CE. In 1044 CE, a Hindu king named Mahipala, who ruled Delhi, fought against the Ghaznavid governor in Punjab. He captured 3 important cities, Hansi, a fort town in Haryana, Thanesar, a holy Hindu place, and Kangra, known for its temples. Mahipala restarted Hindu worship in these places. He even attacked Lahore, a major Ghaznavid city, but failed to capture it and had to retreat. 3. Ghaznavid prince-governors, 1048 CE. The Ghaznavid king Mahmud tried to keep control by appointing his sons as governors, Mahmud as governor of Lahore, Mansur as governor of Peshawar. But this did not help. The government still suffered from corruption, bad management, and unpopularity. 4. Mahmud dies, 1049 CE. Civil war begins. When Mahmud died in December 1049, there was no strong leader to take control. A series of weak rulers followed. Many of them fought among themselves to get the throne. This is called palace intrigue, secret and messy power struggles inside the royal family. Ibrahim, a rare long-reigning king, 1059 to 1099 CE. One Ghaznavid king named Ibrahim ruled for 42 years, a long and relatively peaceful reign. But he didn't expand or strengthen the empire much. After him, his son Masud III ruled for 17 years, until 1115 CE. 6. Seljuks interfere in Ghazni politics, 1118 CE. After Masud III died, 2 rivals fought for the throne, Bahram and Arsalan. A powerful foreign empire called the Seljuks from Central Asia helped Bahram win. Arsalan was defeated and killed in 1118 CE. 7. Decline under Khusrav Shah, RC 1118 to 1160 CE. Bahram's son Khusrav Shah became the next king. But during his rule, a powerful nomadic tribe called the Guz Turkomans attacked. Around 1160 E, they defeated him, and he had to flee from the capital Ghazni. He escaped to Punjab, which was the last territory still under Ghaznavid control. 8. Malik Khusrav, the last Ghaznavid king in Punjab, 1160 to 1186 CE. After Khusrav Shah died, his son Malik Khusrav ruled Punjab. He was a weak king who loved luxury and comfort, not ruling. He allowed his local officers, like district governors, to act independently, like they were their own kings. This made the central government very weak. 9. Rise of Muhammad of Ghur, the next big conqueror. A new power rose in the west, the Ghurid Empire. Ghiyasuddin, the Ghurid ruler, gave the region of Ghazni to his younger brother, Muhammad of Ghur. Muhammad of Ghur began invading Punjab, taking over its territory piece by piece. Part 10. The end of the Ghaznavids, 1186 to 1192 CE. In 1186 CE, Muhammad of Ghur captured Lahore and imprisoned Malik Khusrav, ending Ghaznavid rule in Punjab. In 1192 CE, Khusrav was put to death, which was the final end of the Ghaznavid dynasty. Extra insights and historical importance. The Ghaznavids were among the first major Muslim rulers in India, and their fall opened the way for newer and more powerful invaders like the Ghurids, who would go on to establish Delhi Sultanate. The struggle between Hindu kings like Mahipala and the Ghaznavids shows the constant push and pull between local Indian rulers and foreign invaders during this period. The Ghaznavid rule declined because of corrupt and weak leaders, power struggles, lack of loyalty from their officers, more powerful enemies from outside. After their fall, Muhammad of Ghur became the new master of Punjab, and soon his general Kubuddin Aibak would become the first Sultan of Delhi. If you'd like, I can create a timeline chart, a map, or a character guide for all the people involved. Would you like that next?